Kettlebell cleans. I love these. This is where things start to get exciting. You are getting ready to get exposed to a lot more movement variability, and the cleans is just the beginning. All right, if you hear me say it one time, you're gonna hear me say it 100 million times. There is no such thing as a slow kettlebell clean. We have to make our hips snappy. Snappy, snappy, snappy. That's literally part of the whole point of the clean. All right, so to get set up for the clean, a couple of things we need to keep in mind. We're gonna be in a hinge position. I am not going back through the hinge. If you need a refresher on that, please refer to the kettlebell deadlift or the benchmark hinge video. All right, so you're in your hinge position. From here, you wanna make sure that when we go to grab the kettlebell, we have some tension in our lats. Those big muscles that climbers have that look so good. All right, so tension in the lats, and this means that we are irradiating tension through our whole body. We cannot start a clean with the shoulders sagging. All right, so my favorite way to do that is to pretend like I'm getting ready to break the handle of the kettlebell apart. I'm gonna exhale, ribs come back, tension from the bottom up. Now the next thing to go over is what happens with the hands during a clean. They move around the handle of the kettlebell. At the end of the clean, your hands are going to be touching the body of the bell. You can see that the bottom rim of my palm is literally touching the bell of the kettlebell. I don't want to see anybody's hands still in the corners of the bell or anything like that. This part of your palm needs to be touching the bell. All right, at the top of the clean, we're in that really nice tall stacked position, and we're gonna have our elbows out in front of our shoulders, okay? Straight line from shoulder to elbow. That is your goal to end your clean right here. I don't want to see anybody with a clean that ends right here, and we also don't really need it a lot higher than that, okay? So right here is really good. As you start to use heavier bells, you will not always end with your clean right here, and that is okay. But for the weight that you should be using right now, holding right here should feel like a bit of a challenge, but very doable. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is that please don't use like a 10 or 15 pound bell for a clean. If you are, text me and make sure that, you know, that feels appropriate. But for the most part, you need to use a weight that makes you pay attention. For reference, this is a 16 kilogram kettlebell. This isn't super heavy for me, but it's also not super light. If I was doing it with anything lighter than this, honestly, it wouldn't be heavy enough. Part of the whole reason for doing cleans is to move weight. So you have the kettlebell deadlift nailed. You can do it. That means that you need to use at least the same weight for the deadlift as we're using for the clean. If you have any questions, just text me and I can help you figure out what weight to use. All right, so as we are getting into cleans, one of the best ways to do it is to just practice with our hands first, and then we transition right into using the kettlebell. So with our hands, just using body weight, we're gonna hinge, make sure we're got our center of mass over that midfoot, and then what's gonna happen is we're gonna extend the hands, the elbows are gonna come up, they come by the sides, they're not coming out in front of us right here, elbows come up by the sides, and then we wanna think about at this top point, they're gonna whip around, okay? As the hips extend forward, there is going to be a moment of weightlessness with the kettlebell at the top of its vertical trajectory. At that moment of weightlessness, we are transitioning our hands around the handle to essentially catch the bell before it starts to come back down. Don't worry, you're not gonna think about all of this in real time. It will just happen, I promise. The other thing to keep in mind when we are doing the clean is that this is not an upper body exercise. If you feel like you are really pulling on the bell and that it is really taxing for you to get the bell into the end position, you're not being powerful enough with your hips. Your hip drive is going to drive the kettlebell up, and it will feel mostly weightless. Yes, you will feel some tension when you're holding the kettlebell in this ending position, but this is a static position, so that makes sense, okay? If you feel like you're really pulling on the bell, then you don't have enough hip drive or it's not powerful enough. Now to get out of the clean, we're just going to reverse it. So we're in our nice ending position here. You're going to start to hinge back and you're going to let gravity pull the bell down and in a deadlift position. As you transition back down, your hands are going to slide back down and around the handle. All right, that's your kettlebell clean. Hope you love it as much as I do, and that's how you do it.